Okay. Dear ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Inspiring Entrepreneurial Thinking and Commercialization, let's say today, as a part of celebration of the anniversary of the Kazakhstani PhD Association in the UK. It's really a great honor to be with you, and thanks for having us. Me, Daniyar Medetov, I am PhD student at Henley Business School, the University of Reading, and R&D at the Venture Fund of Kazakhstan. Let me introduce my colleague, Natalya Radko, who is representing Henley Business School today with us, and also Kazakhstani PhD Association in the UK, research and entrepreneurship, and Serik Shakarim, who is representing the General Director of Seedstars Kazakhstan, is also representing Seedstars here today, and will be mostly sharing with expertise and will show different opportunities for our researchers and attendees. Natalya, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Daniyar. Thank you for this introduction. Let me also welcome you all, dear participants. We are welcoming you here on the 3rd anniversary of Kazakh PhD Association in the UK. So we are on the session for inspiring entrepreneurial thinking and the commercialization, and I hope that we will have a really nice discussion today, and we will try to think on entrepreneurial way, which require out-of-the-box thinking. So let us try to think out of the box, to imagine, to facilitate, or to inspire some ideas, and let's discuss all what is matter for us as young researchers, and for us to be entrepreneurs, and to make our research useful to society, and to probably make it commercially applicable. I hope that the discussion will be really productive today, and I'll see you later on the next sessions.
Thank you.
I would like to welcome you all to firstly commemorate the start of our collaboration with KPA UK, and congratulating the KPA with the 3rd anniversary, and I hope say a good start of our collaboration. I want to share a bit about myself. My name is Serik Shakarim. I'm actually regional manager for the Central Eastern Europe and Central Asia. I'm representing Seedstars Group. And I would actually personally want to share with you what's the agenda for the next, I believe, 2 hours that we plan. I'll make a short introduction about the Seedstars so that you would know who we are, what we do, and then we'll work through 2 workshops. One is market opportunity, and second thing is fundraising and corporate innovations. When we had discussions with our good friends from KPA UK, they shared that there are usually 2 main challenges that they have. First thing is that there is a lack of market for the research and commercialization of the intellectual work that people are doing as a part of their PhDs or some other academic work. And secondly, how to fundraise it. So I hope that it will be helpful. But I would ask you, actually, I can switch languages from Russian to English. So please, I'm actually more than welcome for you to ask questions, stop me anytime, so that it will be more interactive rather than just another academic type of theory, because I'm from the background of business, and I usually prefer to have very straightforward and kind of interactive way of learning rather than just saying some theory behind it. So shortly, who are we as a Seedstars? We are a Swiss group that aims to impact people's lives in emerging markets through technology and entrepreneurship. What it means, we're actually doing 3 things. We connect stakeholders within and across emerging ecosystems. When we say emerging ecosystems, we mean the emerging markets. We, secondly, train founders, we build companies, we help building them. In the way we are accelerator with it. And thirdly, we accelerate and invest, because the main essence of Seedstars is an investment activity, and we have a global fund, and I'll share a bit more about it. So we want to, our main aim of the company is to make a positive income, and we believe the collaboration of both entrepreneurship and technology will provide the drive, this drive towards the better future. So what we do, in short, we concentrate around three main categories of work. Firstly, we create communities. We have hubs, more than, I believe we have now 15 hubs, which are co-working spaces around the world. That's the Seed Spaces. We do Seedstars World event. It's actually the biggest startup competition in the emerging markets. We have more than, I believe this year, like in 2019, we had 92 participating countries. So besides the event and some other events, secondly, we're doing programs from the early stages of some ideas up to the later stages of Series A and other programs. And finally, we're doing investments. Since we're actually investment-led group, we have a global fund, seed stage fund, we have regional funds, and we are involved in the process of due diligence, sourcing, screening. So we do know how investors actually evaluate and look through the projects. So there are some of our partners. We work with governments, development organizations, corporations around the world. So we're kind of the one that connects everybody, since our mission is around social impact, but at the same time, we're a business which helps us to become the bridge between all the organizations. We work with a number of organizations around the world, including like development organizations like Jacobs Funds, Bill and Melinda Gates, and others, the governments and corporates. Those are five major sectors that we are currently focusing, but it's not only, they are not the only ones that we work with, but it's mainly agriculture, education, energy, finance, and health. They are focused on the five main SDGs, and all of our activities are actually focused around SDGs, since we want to be in synergy with the activities of UN and other international organizations in it. So of course, it's apart from the technology, it's gender equality. We are, the head of our group is Daniyar, and we believe that gender equality is one of the main things to push around the world. And finally, of course, the economic growth, the decent work, and other activities around the world. So that's short about our presence. We're present, I would say, in majority of the emerging markets where there is no war at this stage. Apart from that, our headquarters is in Geneva, Switzerland, and yeah, we have we're present, I believe, in all. Actually, there should be a map in the Australia too. We did some events there too.
Well, okay. Well, the floor is yours now, Serik. Fundraising and innovations.
Yeah, this team is more about actually
Fundraising.
the basics of fundraising strategy. So it's just an example of how usually goes the questionnaire. Okay, we're raising money. Why? Okay, why? Because we don't have any money. Okay, how much? As much as possible. We don't raise more. We don't want to raise money again. Like from whom? Investors. Anybody who can give messages. Like, how is it going? I don't know. We're talking to serious, like several investors who want to close as soon as possible. That's the usual common scenario that comes. Actually, that's the wrong, very bad type of discussion with investor. And how we believe it. It should be very well planned as a strategy. You should plan how you will go about it. And actually, there is more than enough funding provided for it. It's just you have to propose in the right way. And usually in Kazakhstan, make a business plan. In a way, yes, you have to make a business plan, but not full version of it like in Kazakhstan. You should basically state how you will make money and for what purposes do you need money from investors. Those are main questions actually, and you will get money in the series of it. And actually, that's all 5 questions that, and here I want to actually work more. The 5 questions that you need to answer for all the investors. Why you're raising capital? Who are you raising capital from? Because, for example, I will, as an international investor, will not invest in with the same money from somebody who is maybe potential like government related, because there are some risks to the guy who provides you with such kind of money. That's usually a question. How much? Now in the future, you can make rounds of investment. That's why venture financing is actually one of the best ways to move forward, even for the researchers. You can do like waves and waves of fundraising. When you should plan it in well in advance, because usually the time frame of raising like an investment money takes time from 3 months to up to a year. And how will you go about raising the funds? The first question is why. Investor fund plans, not capital more not, we don't want to provide money just for some capital shortages. We want to invest in some future. We want to have a vision where exactly you were investing. There is some opportunity for it, because we as investors, we're not investing our money. Like we're as a professional investor, we're getting money from the investors and then provide it to the investees. And how it goes, we're looking for the pitches. Pitch is essentially the presentation of their ideas. And the ideas should be very granular. And it actually helps you question like when, who, how much, when you're raising. But it's always start with question why. It's not about yeah, I need money, that's why I'm raising. No, I need money to get to a certain point, to make a pilot, to I don't know, to get the proof of concept, to scale out of the country. But you should provide the question why first, and then other questions. Who are raising from? Those are some of the questions. It's actually uh, customers, crowds, everybody. Yeah, sorry. Um, you could get from various sources of money, and actually there is a grant money. Everything is accessible. And when I hear that there is lack of money, it's usually not about lack of money. It's usually about lack of strategy to get those money, in my opinion. So there is actually stages. That's how we see it. Bootstrap is something that you must build today. And Kanat was asking questions about something great. No, you can actually make something just out of something that you have at the moment. Then you're usually getting money. If you don't have any money yourself, you'll get somebody who are related to you. And if you don't believe and you will not provide money for your research or for your business, nobody will invest, because you are the pillar of it. Then comes the friends and family, then some accelerators, incubators, some others, angel investors, and the venture capital. We're in this stage, just for you to clarify, but our minimum is 50K. So there are certain stages of it, and some rounds, that's not the main idea. But the question now is, what type of investors are you targeting? Who do you want as investors? Be very selective. It's not about getting and just get money. No, it's better to think about it more strategically. Which sector, which stage, geography, ticket size, everything. Don't waste time talking to everybody. Select the right people. If that person is in this field, if the investor is in the field, maybe he or she is not interested, they will refer to you to somebody who is interested. Do your diligence. So provide all the details about how you will go forward with this money. Partners, portfolio, track record, capital available. It's actually not about you, but about the investor too. I would strongly recommend you against going after money. Get a proper list of people and just try to address them one by one. How much capital will you raise? There are two philosophies usually. What you need or as much as possible. I would say get as much as possible is the wrong way to go. the usual two questions: how much cash do you need to hit a certain meaningful milestone? And we usually, in investment, you are attracting money to get to a certain milestone, create an MVP, minimum viable product, to get to a pilot, work through the pilot and get proof of concept, then get a certain market fit, essentially get a working business model, or with research, essentially to fund money to get a certain prototype. Sometimes some of your prototypes could be very capital demanding, but maybe you can make something, maybe even you can make a certain digital version of it to try to get the proof of concept with a digital version before making a real one. And I would even suggest you to think about it in the term of time frame too. Get money for the next 12, maybe 18 months. That's the way. And please always have a shopping list. Always have a list of things that you need and for what purpose you need. Hiring plan for the team, marketing budget for to understand what's your market, to do questionnaire to ask people, for the capex, essentially for the capital expenses. When are you raising capital? Like, when do you need money? And when do you want money? Those are the two main questions. And the timing is of the essence, because when you're fundraising from the position of the week, you will never get money. Or we as investors, we want to get as much benefits as possible for ourselves, right? Because it's market, and we will try to negotiate the best, bargain the best terms for us. And if you are in the position of the strong, and if you have some additional money, then you have a chance to bargain better terms. And always be aware of the runway. It's not about, oh, I will just raise money to make a MVP and that's all, and I will get it in 2 months, and then the cash stops. Think about it a bit more strategically. Have certain additional money for the burn rate, so that you will have some capacity to move forward even without money, without any additional investors for the time being. When are you raising capital? Like closing round for any investments, and I'm actually very specific regarding the investments, because the investors are the people who are taking equity, part of your companies, part of the ownership of something that you're building. And for example, we have two portfolio companies, Ultracasas and Agrocenta. Ultracasas is one of the solutions for the real estate. They were closing 10 months, even though they had a very good track record and they were already in the good revenue generation stage. And Agrocenta is another one, 7 months. So it's not a question about doing it very fast. It's about doing it the right way. And why I'm talking right now, because at the early stages, that's the moment when you're making the most mistakes. You shouldn't make mistakes at the early stage, because later it will cut off some potential investors or potential funding that you could have gotten, but you won't be able because of certain investors or because you're tied. And please, additional thing, don't try to sell more than 30% at a time, because we as investors want to have you as the founders to be the majority owners, because you are providing vision. You have the vision how to make it viable. And in terms of investments, it's actually investing in the people. It's not about investing in the technology as much. How will you go? How? This way it doesn't go. It doesn't work in a way that there's a panel of people, you're just pitching and then saying, I'm in. No, it doesn't go this way. It's a very fancy, it looks good, but the reality is different. So usually that's the process. You contact, qualifiers, first meeting, partner meeting, like term sheet, due diligence, data room. Data room is information about what you're doing. So additional due diligence, investment committee, and then the signing. And it takes time. It's not a very fast process. But if investor is following this logic, it's better actually, and it's not worse. Because it's much worse when the person comes and gives you money, say, like, we'll figure out something bad. Usually you will figure out something bad for the founder because you already took the money. And please celebrate at the right time as a result. So there are certain procedures to be following, like back and forth emailing or legal issues. You should be aware of everything. That follow the basic logic. It's up to you to drive the process. Please don't wait for investors to wait. Even though the investor could say, "Oh, I'm interested, I will ping you." Please never believe it. And why? And I myself as an investor, I would say, we have we have our own work life, and we can forget, or sometimes something more interesting could take place. And to be frank, you are the ones who are interested in the money, not investors. You should create the momentum in the rounds. You should push for close. You should push the investor to go through the documents, because it's in the interest of the investor to make you wait till the moment when you run out of money, so that the price of the investments will be much higher than when you're in the position of the strong one. So it's all about the process. So it's like a sales. You should follow a certain procedure. You should know how will you reach them. Maybe LinkedIn, some other channels. What exactly you will say. Please do make scripts. Don't try to, it's better with the investor to prepare some materials in advance and then just send the materials so that we would understand everything the right way. And be very specific of why do you want to invest, how much, what's the minimum ticket size, what are your future plans for additional investments to raise, and get all the right documents in place, which is usually set as data room. Data room is about what are your KPIs, what are the plans that you want to achieve, what are some milestones. Cap table is about usually your creative companies, and cap table is who are the equity holders, who are the shareholders of the company, and how much money are you going to dilute to get, how much equity will you dilute to get additional investors. Make a term sheet. Term sheet is fancy way of saying list all the terms on which you want to work with investors. You're interested in making your research, your startup, your venture in itself successful. You should have those answers in advance. Do some financial modeling. If you can do it, you can actually ping accelerators, incubators. They're there. Try to get a certain financial model. And it's better even when you have certain contracts. It will make it easy for investors to close, and it will actually facilitate the process greatly. So in a way that there are 5 stages. Plan, have a certain strategy, follow it, be very sequential in it. It's a process. Manage it like one. It's not like, oh, I will just shoot one email and everything will be great. I will get in certain acceleration and everything will be great. No, it's a process. It's a constant process. You're going after different people, various maybe grant programs, everything. You can try a number of things. Target the right investors. You should get the right people on board. You would potentially not want somebody like, на русском говорят, есть такое выражение, я боюсь взять инвестора, там, агашка, который меня отожмет. Но есть другие люди, которые профессионально хотят этим заниматься. И они будут более чем рады проинвестировать в человека, у которого есть видение, как это сделать реальность. И таких людей немало. Please prepare all the stuff you need in the process. Some like potential deal, data room, every document, as many documents as possible, so that you'll be very thorough in the process. And pitch the deal. It's not just about the business or research that you're providing. You should state specifically why it is in the interest of the investors too, because it's a mutual relationship and there should be reciprocity. you are providing something and you're getting something back. And maybe you, as a person who wants to raise investments, you will know what you will get out of it. You should be very specific what investors will get out of it. So we believe how it should be. So are you raising capital? Yes, we're raising $400,000 with the safe round. Safe is there is a number of various ways of deals how to do. Safe is actually a term sheet made by Y Combinator. Everything is there in the web or in the Google. You can Google it essentially. When you want to do it, by the end of the year. From whom? From local people to get profitability and set up a company for scale. Now I understand how much do you need, on what terms, till what time, from whom, for what purposes. Now I'm 100% clear. It answers all the questions. And those 5 questions should be always in place. If you don't have answer and if you don't have answer to any of the questions, it will be failure. And actually research and startup, it's not that much of a difference in itself. There is a logic, there is an idea and technology behind it, and you want to make it possible, something part of reality. So please work on it, and people will invest. Any questions? I was very fast, sorry for it, but I hope now to answer questions more.
No, it was great. Actually, I have a question. I think it's more like relevant to our fundraising. So I would say that we talked about what to prepare for investor, but I would like to know about what not to say to investor and how to protect yourself, how not to be deceived and used by a giant monsters, because I know a lot of young researchers go into some so-called monster investors, and they're used and they waste their time because they get their product and idea, and then they're not protected. So any tips to avoid this possibility to be used by stronger guys?
Okay. The right way to firstly work with it, not to pitch to the monsters, because there are a number of people who will invest with you properly. And actually, one way of going forward is just to Google whom are you pitching, because people can say all the details. That's the first part. That's why I say, like, from whom? Do your due diligence. Know to whom you're talking to. Maybe that person has a certain conflict of interest. Maybe they will want to use you. Second thing, you should describe your product and not to describe everything about your product. There's a huge difference. And when the product of your research or whatever, when the main logic that you're pitching to the investor, it's not about pitching your solution, your product, like all the details of it. Honestly, investors don't need to know all the details. They want to know 2 main things. One thing, what value it creates. And second thing, is it a viable option? Like, does it really solve the problem and provide value? Like, for example, I would say there is AI behind it. Then I don't need to know all the actual algorithm, how the AI works. But I will ask, how do you use your AI? What's the business logic? What's the logical process behind it? And if you will not provide me answers for the logic, most likely either you don't know or you don't have, and you're lying to me. So there are 2 sides of the how to evade such kind of situations. Know to whom you're pitching, and second, to not provide all the details of the technical side of it. That's the main issue actually with researchers. They get so many details around the technical side of it when you just lose the track, what's the value? And actually, the third stage that I would propose you, there are a certain procedure where you're when you're going into the data due diligence, and due diligence when you're providing your actual documents. With it, you're providing NDA, non-disclosure agreements. And in it, you can actually even set that if this project will be duplicated by the investor, and it can be proven actually that you have duplicated, then I will sue you. And that's why actually when even you're doing fundraising, think about jurisdiction. Now there is AIFC, there is a British jurisdiction out there in Kazakhstan. Get money not from our usual jurisdiction in following the Kazakhstani laws, use the AIFC one. You don't know how to work there? Again, go to the AIFC, go to the other guys, like maybe us on other accelerators. They will help you. They are the people, I'm working with them. We're providing answers. So there are these 3 suggestions that I will make regarding the how to protect yourself and how to move forward.
It's really cool and precise, but would you be able, as Seedstars, to provide us with the capacity building on pitching your idea for investors? Because there are a wide range of pitching. We're actually trying to get as a soft skill, but I've never heard about what is a pitching for investor. And when I was in Canada in this B2B kind of exhibition, they were so young guys, like 12 years old guys, were so good in pitching, and so that everybody can understand what he's talking about, and everybody wanted to have what he was proposing. So is it possible to have this kind of capacity building on how to present your initial idea and starting from this, because there are many other instruments that you provided, very useful, like this breaking into parts and think about milestones and sell parts by parts. This is a very useful strategy. But can we start from this pitching? I would be happy if we organize the pitching of the ideas, and our members will hopefully present or try to present their ideas for you as a Seedstars, and then you can give your feedback.
Yes, we can. But there will be 2 rules of it. First, please be prepared when we will send the template. And second, there is a 3-minute pitch. And there is no way to move after the 3 minutes, which will help. That's on my side to ask. But yeah, sure. And I believe as a part of our collaboration, we have planned to do some additional trainings regarding it. There is a certain way to pitch their ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have a sort of question and perhaps recommendation here. I think before, pitching, good performance and all this stuff, I think it's better to perhaps leave the essence of the value. Really hard, honestly, because I'm afraid 90% of researchers still, would definitely be a bit confused of identifying the value of their research. You formulate a value proposition, it'll be easier for you to manipulate different strategies and spend not even less than 2 minutes and to be very understandable, in this case. So what do you think about it, Serik? What could you please give, for example, the essence of value that you and Seedstars understand, which is very practical. And what is the difference? Not difference, perhaps give an example of one value proposition of a research project or company, just to make sure that our attendees might get insight of that. Yeah.
Okay. I remember guys from Egypt. They worked on in Egypt, there is a huge issue with the clean water. It's actually a very huge issue. And there were researchers from American University in Cairo, if I'm not mistaken. And the guy there, he said that somebody close to him actually died because of the polluted water. And he said, I will do something. And he created a filter that could be used for 10,000 liters of purifying water. But he actually didn't know how to do it, how to move forward with it. And when we were saying, okay, what's the problem? And with actually his value proposition started not with the value, but with the problem. He said, the main problem is people want to drink pure water. Okay, then we answered, okay, we got, you have the problem. How many people has it? And then he said like, yeah, actually this problem is only for those with low income. Now he understands that his solution, he wants to help the people who have this problem and they're low income. How much money do they have? Since they want to have, be practical. And he said like, they can save, I don't know, $10, maximum 15 for this, if it could be used. And then like, when we were discussing it in the process, he said like, actually, thanks for purifying my idea. The problem was, I want to help not all the people in Egypt. I want to help the low income people to drink clear water. And then we asked those low income people in Egypt, since you now know that it's the price of the product should maximum $15, what some additional things that you should be aware of? And he said like, actually not many of us has pipes in the water in the houses. We don't have water in our houses. Okay, then your solution should be portable. And he said like, yes, thanks. And his value proposition was, I will create something that's portable, that is very cheap, and that could be reused with the filter size could be reused. And what they did actually create a certain, like a can that essentially you will just grasp the water, wait for some time, and the top side of it with the filter, you just wash it through and then use it as the cup. And the cup was around 1 liter of the capacity. And it was ideal for workers to use. And actually the workers were the first ones to buy his solution. And now he's quite successful because he essentially, his value proposition will be, I'm providing clear water for you to continue living. And that was his value. And since the value was very practical, he got funding. And it's actually, he got very, like a lot of money for additional research. And at the end, he did the product only after 1.5 years after the initial investments. But the people understand the value because he said, I want to provide clear water to people. And the first two customers were workers, on the actual the workers on the construction side and in the fields. And they
Yes, Doug. That's
something maybe with connection.
action or.
But actually,
I mean, that was very good insight. And look, if you look at the algorithm, asking questions, because, well, Seedstars, let's say, they ask so many questions and provoke the researcher to come up with a different value proposition that was successful. We call it humble inquiry, or by Edgar Schein, well, a gentle art of asking questions. So sometimes what we do know, well, as PhD researchers or PhD students, well, you know, we spend a year time on formulating research questions. Sometimes we might spend even more. So and from that perspective, I think it's very vital to again, test everything. Test. You might have so many hypotheses, assumptions, but still, without testing and showing a commitment, showing sort of results, maybe sales. Yeah. Hi, Serik.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot about the.
No worries, it's fine. I was just saying, you know, look how after you asking questions or, you know, advisors, I don't know, he totally perhaps changed the value proposition because you provoked him to change that, right? And I'm just trying to give also sort of advice maybe for young researchers that ask questions or find someone who will be asking questions all the time and who will be provoking you. Sometimes it could be annoying, honestly. It annoys entrepreneurs when we do consultations. But again, finally, you got a clear value proposition and then manipulate with different marketing strategies. So,
yeah, and I will provide even more more perspective. He said that his value proposition got clarified when he started asking around his children, and the children, since they don't have this perspective of being focused on money or the problems all the time, they provide the perspective to think about it in the right way. And he said the biggest, I would say, not the opening, the biggest, I forgot the word, открытие for him was that he learned to go and ask people, to talk to people. And only after he started asking questions and providing, talking it in as a certain interview type of thing, when he started to make perspectives out of his position and to start to think as of him not as the one with the answers, he said that now I'm an innovator because I'm the one with the right questions. And he goes around the people asking questions all the time. He got the questions, then he actually cuts off, because I know the guy, he asked questions for 1 month and then he's cut off from the world for the next 6 months. He's doing his research, work, everything. He's very focused. Once he has certain things, maybe even he is very, I would say, extreme examples of it. But in the essence, he is always reflecting with the market. So it's actually two sides. Fundraising is about talking to people. Market opportunity is about talking to people. So my main suggestion would be start talking to people. Start talking to people around you.
This is actually good, I think, point to close the session with saying that members don't be silent. If you, we always are bothered about something. We always want to solve the problem. That's why we're doing research. We're trying to identify the pain. We talked about the first workshop, and also we are trying to identify what is the gap and how we can fill it. So I think the best suggestion to try to write us and request for a talk. And I believe that out of 100 members, we will find 5-7 people who can come together online and listen for your challenge and somehow structure it and shape it into a kind of a form that later we can show to the Seedstars, because we have to utilize our resources and capacities. And this is the best example. Thank you, Serik, with finishing with this case, that sometimes being shy to say something and ask something will just limit yourself in terms of opportunities. So if you want to increase the opportunities and open more doors, just start opening it. Just start saying about your venture or your idea or your product, or maybe even a problem that you see, but you don't know how to solve it. So it's interesting. Thank you so much.
Let me probably add Serik to your presentation. So when we talk about the investment and the fundraising, actually when the person, let's say founder, who pitched the idea to the investor, and when he got the money, he's not getting only the money from the investor. We should be clear that it's not only money. We are getting mentorship support. We are getting advisor who will help you, who will guide you on a way how to do your business, how to proceed, how to grow. And also one of the most important points that we can get as a founders, let's say, from their investors or fundraisers is a networking opportunity, because the investors, they usually have a good network connection and they connected within the industry which they are investing in. So that means that they might help you as a founder, as a person who just started to do some activities in the industry. You might not know relevant people who might be important for you, but the investor, they can help you to build this network. They can advise you to other stakeholders in the industry, let's say. So fundraising and investment, it's not only about getting the money. It's much more behind that.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Finish and then I'll add.
Okay, thank you, Serik. So Madin, maybe if that would be helpful also to all the participants. You asked about their maybe the practice of pitching and what investor might look like. There is a really nice opportunity to learn from. Actually, I learned a lot by myself. It's a social TV show which called Dance Dragon in the UK, and it's shown on a BBC, so you can get an access always. It's a real-time, real-life show where founders, let's say, they pitch the idea to the investors. And what I can see from the experience, what I observed, that different investors, they have different requirements. What are they looking in this business idea or in the individuals? So it's not easier just to provide some let's say guidelines to show to founders how you have to pitch your ideas. It's more about experience. The more you know, the more you're able to understand the people with whom you are talking, and the more you're able to understand which right let's say button to push now at that moment. So try to I mean, this is a really good example where if you want to get more experience about investment and fundraising, maybe it's better to start watching. It's a real life show where people get an investment for their business idea.
Thanks. Actually, I can suggest more. We've worked with them dragons. There is a Shark Tank in US. There is a Big Heroes in Italy. You can watch them. Yes, it's a good way. And I actually want to add regarding the investors. There is three rules for all investors, and it's good to know for founders too. We do three things only. We write checks, we mentor, we help, we educate the founders only, and we provide network for follow-on investors. That's the only thing. So that, because I had certain issues when the founders whom I provide with money asked, please help me with sales, please help me with this and that. And then my question started, am I the one who is the founder or you are the one? Because the main logic is, please try to restrain your investors getting far too deep in your work too. It should be set only three things: writing checks, mentoring startup, and providing network for the follow-on investors, so that the new investors would be good. That's all. I believe, and following Madina's idea, if we have some in the future, some, I would say, demand for pitching, we can do it, I believe. That's why we started our collaboration. Sure. Any other questions, or we'll take a break? Please suggest them.
Let's take a break. We've got 10 minutes to the next panel session.